This show is presented by Onnit. Bidets are back. The Church of What's Happening Now is proud to introduce you to HelloTushy.com. That's right, HelloTushy.com. HelloTushy.com makes portable devices that spray your butt clean with water. He knows what I'm talking about. Go to HelloTushy.com/church right now to get 10% off of your order. HelloTushy.com/church. The show is also brought to you by Texture. The Texture app lets you tap into the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere, using your smartphone or tablet. And the best part is Texture is offering our listeners a free trial right now when you go to Texture.com/Joey. That's Texture.com/Joey.
Oh shit. Little Elton John for you motherfuckers tonight. You're like, who the fuck is Elton John, Joey? One of the greats! One of the greats! You're just too busy jumping up and down listening to bad music. That's what the fucking problem is. Church of What's Happening Now. Wednesday, November 30th. It's over, bitches.
But the South spares doubt.
Jets. Kick that muley. Oh shit. Benny and the Jets. These motherfuckers don't know about Elton John, great Proops.
Oh, what are you going to do with the young people? But instruct them, Joey.
I try. And like I said to you, every time I hear Elton John, I go, Jesus Christ, how do I put something together to show the world Elton John? Like, it was like 6 years that he just ruled with an iron hand when I was growing up.
Absolutely.
6 or 7 years, 3 albums.
Oh, easily. Through the whole 70s, he was
just ripping it up. Because I remember his last song that I really liked was I'm Still Standing.
Yeah. What was that? That was like
83?
80s?
Yeah, 83.
He wore the hat in that one.
Yep. No, he was starting to lose his head.
Right, and he didn't go to pay yet.
The Rogaine didn't work.
Yeah, no.
Didn't take. So.
No, it didn't take.
Church of What's Happening Now, great Proops. Lee Syatt. What's going on, Lee?
I'm doing good. That chocolate's fucking good. You say things to me in the morning, and I don't think you realize that it sends me into like a mental downward spiral throughout the day, because like you said something, and I'm having an issue with something, and you said there's always a fire to put out, and like you say these things, and you just hang up, and you leave me to like go into like these spirals, because you always talk about like when you first were finding a job, how like you didn't think you could do it for 40 years or whatever. That freaked me out too. I'm like, there's never gonna be an easy down, like calm, no fires to put out at all scenario. And that, like I kind of like I almost called you. I was like, I can't do the podcast today. I was still in bed, like kind of.
You were still stoned from last night.
It was I didn't get stoned last night actually.
Last night I got stoned, and I watched 2 documentaries that were on HBO about Cuba.
Okay.
Nice.
And the first one was just talking about the economics in Cuba. And these people saying, listen, all this shit that you're saying is great, but where's the paper? We're nobody. Yeah. We have no expectations. We have no, like, future. We do the same shit every day with no light at the end of the tunnel. That's the word. No light at the end of the fucking tunnel, you know? And that's how I felt at times when I was 22, 23. When you realize, okay, so I went to high school. I did what they told me. I went to college. I made a little pit stop in prison. Now what? Yeah. So what you're telling me is whatever job I choose at 27 years old, I'm doing this till I'm 65 to get a fucking watch.
Right.
That fucking threw me into a 4-day, like, then whatever I'm going to do, I better fucking be in love with it.
Yeah.
I better not do it for the money. That was a complete different lesson now. Now it's not even about the money. I got to do something that I fucking like. You know, I liked what I was doing. I liked what I was trying to be.
Right.
But taking a train with a brown bag every day and you got to pay for dry cleaning, That's not my bag. That's never been my bag. A little brown bag. And at the end of the week, you got to pay an extra $90 for dry cleaning and fucking take a train every morning. And this is it. This is it till those 2 weeks you get off every year.
Right.
This is it. I couldn't handle that. That's why I said, fuck it. I might as well do this shit.
Was that when you started being a stand-up? When you were 27?
No, I think I got on stage the first time. Yeah. I got on stage when I was 27. I knew the marriage wasn't working. I was failing at. I just wasn't failing at life. Like I had a job, and I was making good money, but that was it.
Right.
That was it.
The crushing weight.
I was 27 years old. I finally gave up and went to work for my in-laws on a roof. And after 6 months, I couldn't see me just roofing.
Yeah.
So I played the estimating game, and I just wrote to the companies, and they had estimating clinics. So I would fly myself, and I learned how to estimate.
Uh-huh.
You know, I said, I'm not going to fucking be 40 on these roofs with stories. I remember one time we did 90 yards, and the tar was hot. That ain't me.
Yeah.
It's like when you get locked up, you meet people, and they brag to you about their prison resume.
Yeah.
And people go, you got to get arrested in Kansas, so you got to get arrested in Connecticut. The jail there, and the guy will go, you know what, I got a sister in Connecticut. That's not a bad idea. Like, it's like they're proud of their resume. It's the same thing with these roofers, which was I loved it. I was in great shape. You getting vitamin D. I was in Colorado. You know, it's not humid, so it was great. But the cold, hard reality at 27 years old is this is what I'm fucking doing the rest of my life. So I tried the estimating, and I was pretty good at that, and I was hustling on the weekends. I was a commercial estimator, which was buildings. But on the weekends, I would go into these little neighborhoods that had hail damage, and I'd work them to death. And I'd get a house on Saturday and a house on Sunday. And again, I'm like, okay, so the bank account is straight. This is straight. But there hasn't been a day off in 20 fucking days.
Yeah.
That's not life either. So I got into this not really because of economic relief. I got into this knowing I was going to be broke. I got into this because at least I wanted to like what I did.
Yeah.
There was nothing I liked. Let's face it. You know, I love cooking. I don't like fucking cooking. I like cooking a hamburger for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Salt and pepper, a bun, ketchup, you cut up an onion. That's it. I'm good. But if you think I want to cook 1,000 fucking hamburgers, chef, fuck you, chef. You know, there was nothing I liked, Greg. Construction was great for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was surprised you said 6 months. I'm like, I don't think I can handle it. But I'm not. Every job I had was just a terrible.
What jobs did you have that you fucking went in there and go, what the fuck is my life?
I was a busboy and a paper boy and a waiter and a dishwasher, all those, jobs. 70s, entry level. You're 16, 15, that's what you get. No one's going to make you a bookkeeper or anything. And my striving for excellence was not exactly at the forefront of my mind. And then I delivered pizza for a while for a guy who sold meth in Burlingame. And he was a ex-con, jarhead, and his mother worked there. Did I tell you this one last time?
I don't think so.
Burlingame, Vermont?
Burlingame, California, on the peninsula.
Okay.
I'm from San Carlos, which is a tiny white little place 30 miles south of San Francisco. And Burlingame's about halfway up toward the city. And see, I'm from San Francisco. You're from New York. In the West Coast, the city is San Francisco. And in New York, people go, "You mean New York?" And I'm like, "No, I mean the city, the other city." Yeah. That's how parochial we are. We think there's one city. And anyways, So I looked at an ad in a paper. You remember when you looked at the want ads, and it said, "Driver wanted, must have car, W/INS, apply, Pizza Man, Chicken Delight, Burlingame." And so I went down. And he was there. He had a little goatee, a complexion like his face had been aflame and someone put it out with a bicycle chain, like.
Now, how old were you at this time?
18, 19,
okay.
Like just skating, right? No fucking direction. I'd been an actor. I'd done a little comedy. I did stuff in high school and I was going to junior college, but, I didn't know what, I think at that point I wanted to be a DJ, which was a career in 1979 or whatever. And, so nothing was going on. I had long hair. I had a Mickey Mouse shirt, I remember. giant Elton John glasses. And so I walk into the place and he goes, you get Proops. What's your name? Proops. Proops. What, you got a car? Yeah. All right, come back at 4. That was it, right? That was the whole interview. It's $1. It's $1 a run. That was a big deal, right? And you get all the tips. So I came back, and they had a map on the wall. This is the old days of the whole area where the pizza deliveries took place, and there were pins in it, which I thought was hilarious, like Churchill. It's like the war room, like we're a strategic pizza strike on Millbrae Avenue or whatever. And I did a bunch of deliveries the first night. Driving around, I had a Chevy Vega with a cassette deck.
I love the Chevy.
Remember the Chevy Vega?
Fuck
It was
yeah.
a hatchback because you could keep the
Two-door
pizzas in the back.
hatchback.
Yeah, you put
Yeah.
the pizzas in the back. And they give you a little crappy styrofoam oven to put them in. And I listened to KSOL or KDIA, which were the soul stations, and smoked cools and rode around. Some people ordered the same thing every night. Like there was a lady, and you had to stop and get her Pall Malls and milk and shit. And then you go to... so I finished the first night. And I get back and he goes, hey, you did pretty good. You made like 30 pizza runs or whatever. And he goes, you smoke weed? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, really? Because I deal weed. So, of course, the money I've made the first night.
Weed.
Yeah. And then he, of course, reveals eventually, within a day or two, that he is a speed dealer. Of course, in those days, we called it crank. We didn't call it meth. And... so I worked for him for a few months, and I didn't deliver meth for him, but I would sometimes have to go to deliver pizzas to his dealer's house, and those were always free, right? And sometimes the dealer would come in, and he drove a black Trans Am with a giant eagle on the front, right? And he had the wasted girlfriend with the bell bottoms and the short rabbit fur jacket, and he wore a leather vest and a Civil War hat and no shirt, right? And an iron cross, and yeah,
real undercover.
Fucking
At a pizza chicken delight.
So you come in the afternoon, and I don't know if you've ever, you'd hear him upstairs. You'd hear, right, when I'd walk in, ding, ding, the door, and he'd go, Proops, right, because you could hear the door open. Fold some fucking boxes. That was the worst job, right? When you were doing nothing, when you were waiting to make a delivery, you had to fold pizza boxes. And then finally, the delivery started about 4:35, but you got to get there at 4 in case somebody ordered a fucking pizza at 4. So at the end of the night, there was these two little kids who put the. Is this getting long and boring?
No. This is what I want.
These two little kids.
I want this shit.
This is a job when you're a teenager, right? Like, people said to me, you're thrown into the world and expected to like be an adult. I had a car, I had to pay insurance. I was living at home. My dad said, get the fuck out and get a job. So I took the first fucking thing that I saw and the first thing I got. So anyway, these two little kids would come in, and they're about 8 and 10. And they would ride up in their Stingrays and chuck them in the alley. And they'd come in and they'd put the chicken in milk, and they'd have to bread it and everything. Lonnie cut it, right? Like there was a bandsaw that cut chicken. Chicken came in a giant crate like a Chinese restaurant, right? With the chickens on ice. And then... and he would slice them with his saw, which was murder, right? And he was janked on speed all the time. So his mood varied between Hitler and like Satan on a bad weekend. Like, he was very rarely jovial. He was grumpy. And they would bread the chicken, and he paid them in weed. They were little kids, right? They took weed for their pay. So after hours, we'd go in the back room, the chicken room. And I've described it before as it was so much like a horror show that it should have been in black and white, right? Like there's chickens in a thing, and there's a garbage can full of chickens and, old pizzas. And there was 2 records he owned. Rod Stewart's Night on the Town and James Brown's Greatest Hits on some obscure, bootleg. And we would put those on, and then we'd all smoke weed and dance around. His sister worked there, his mother, his sister's jacked up boyfriend, the 2 little kids. And
I'm still freaked out about the 2 8 and 10-year-old who were butchering what were they? They were butchering the
chickens. Yeah, they didn't have to run the saw, mind you. They just had to put it in the milk and let it soak, and then put it in the breading, and then take it out and put it in the fridge. And that was their job. And I don't know that they received money or that they convinced their parents. Maybe they were bringing home $10 or whatever, but they were definitely getting bags of weed. So they were the coolest kids, I'm sure, at their high school or grade school.
Yeah, in their 5th grade class.
And right in 5th grade in Burlingame. And we would dance to James Brown and shit. And then he's handing me a joint, Lonnie. And Bobby, the sister's boyfriend comes up and goes, "Did he hand you a joint?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Don't hit on his man because he smokes angel dust, right? Like he'd taken so much speed that he couldn't really get high. Like we would just smoke a joint, right? You know what I mean? We smoke a joint, we get high, and then we're high.
Right.
He had to go the extra mile to smoke PCP, right? Horse tranquilizer, as it was.
Yeah, that was what was popular.
And
biscuits.
So I was like, "Oh, forewarned is forearmed, right? Like, thank you for telling me that he's smoking fucking angel dust because I got to get back in my car and go to my."
He didn't tell you? You were 19, he just handed you?
Uh-huh.
That seems a little bit...
Dude, he'd been in the joint. He had a Marine tattoo. He had other crudely etched tattoos that I assume were done by gentlemen he knew inside. And he was, the real... And his father sometimes was there. His mother sat in a wheelchair. And she rolled up and down the counter. And there was the spike, right? Remember those? You'd write the order out and you put a chunk on a spike, right? And they were the most dangerous thing in the world.
Oh my God, they're a weapon.
It was literally...
A fucking point.
Yes, it was...
They still have them.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one ever puts their hand through one.
Right? That's the thing. No one ever put their fucking hand through it because... So they put the thing on, and she had a phone with the cushy, the 70s, the giant cushion that you could put your head on. And one of those, 1970s with 6 lines on it. And I said to her, "Are you okay, Tina? Do you need any help?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't need the wheelchair. I just don't like walking around." So she took orders and would roll up and down the counter.
Were they Greek or were they white trash? Were they
White
Italian?
trash. Yeah.
Hysterical.
I think they might have been Italian. The sister had that fantastic haircut where there's the brown stripe there and the bleach blonde hair and the 70s jeans with the embroidery, yeah, it was pretty. I lasted there. I don't think maybe 6 months. We would go to concerts in San Francisco, like we talked about last time. You going to New York? We went in and saw Blondie. I remember Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. These sounds like dinosaurs now, but this is who we would go see. We thought they were hot shit. So I go up with my buddy Jay, and we were going to the. And stop me if I've told you this part. We're going to the.
What year is this?
70s, 78.
78. Blondie was on fire.
Yeah, they were huge. We're going to see, and so we park at the Fillmore in San Francisco used to be in a really bad neighborhood. Now there are very few really bad neighborhoods in San Francisco, but there's still enough. And it was falling apart. Every time I went there, part of the ceiling would fall on me. I remember having a piece of wood from the floor. It had a beautiful hardwood floor. It was an old venue, it was from the 20s or something. And the Grateful Dead did that show there with the Blues Brothers in 78. They did New Year's and they all were painted blue and whatnot. Anyway, we were trying to park and my friend goes, "Get out of the car and put it in this small space. There's nowhere to fucking park. There's no parking lot or nothing." And I'm high and drunk. We've been drinking tequila and snorting fucking meth and, I'm shit-faced. And I'm standing in the middle of the street like an idiot on Steiner and a black... Lincoln Continental comes down the street and I go, "Fuck you," I'm a teenager, right? And the fucking and pull back, right? And the windows go down, zook, and there's these 2 400-pound Samoan dudes, right? And their eyes are fucking glazed, burning red volcanoes of centroids of murder. And my joke is they had weaponry hanging from the filials, right? Like there was a musket and a sword, But they had one of those little steering wheels. You remember those that are chains, right? That's this big. This is in a black Cadillac, right? And the window goes down, and the guy goes, "Is there a problem?" And I'm like shitting myself, right? So I go, "No, there's no problem.
My friend's on the other side of the street."
Yeah, everything's cool. And they're like, "Because if there's a problem, We'll deal with that right now." And I'm like, "Absolutely, gentlemen. This is a night of bon ami between friends, and I was celebrating life and all of its single-digit glory. I danced, and then they went, "Okay, because if there's a problem," and I'm like, "No, there's no problem." Finally, fucking car takes off. Just then, my friend gets out of the car and goes, "What's the matter with you?" I'm sitting on the sidewalk now, with my head in my hands, my heart's racing. I'm almost in tears because I thought, they're going to shoot me, right? Just for being a fucking douchebag who went like this. And he's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Their guys came along. They were going to kill me." I'm just a little fucking idiot white kid from the suburbs. And so there was some fun.
you ran into. Now let me ask you this: what? It was crank, but speed was the shit in capsules.
Yeah, speed was either in a black capsule,
Right, black beauties. That's what I grew
or
up
there
on.
were the whites, which we also called cross tops.
I didn't grow.
And
Yes!
right.
Yes,
They were
with the little
about as
crosses
big
on
as
them. Oh my God.
a Xanax, but they were
Yes,
round. They
yes.
were round. They were dinky, and they had a cross across them like that. Theoretically, you could break them into 4, I suppose, but no one ever did. When you worked in a restaurant business, the one thing you were guaranteed was that everybody took speed. This is in the 70s.
Right.
Not crank, but that was because I worked for a gangster who fucking sold crank for another guy. But because crank makes you break out, and then if you do it for a bunch of days, as you know, it's an epidemic in this country. But if you do it for several days, you're not lighthearted. You're depressed, right? I mean, the best time, of course, is the first giant line of it when your head explodes and your eyes, you feel like you're crying ammonia, But it's not like a fun-loving. It's basically so you can drink, I think, really. Or maybe it's not. Maybe that's the drink.
I don't know how I bought
Cross tops we would eat to work on. Not just to get high, but to work.
Everybody used to always fucking talk about pills and shit. I never wanted to see those. Then when I was about 16, I went out one night and I bought a gram of speed. I didn't do it that night. I did it the next day in the morning.
Right.
And it jacked me up.
Right,
Like,
right.
it just
I'm getting
fucking-
everything done.
No, I went to school and
Right.
we had half a day
Yeah.
and we drank and
Yeah.
we threw, and it was just craziness. And then I did it again. I saved a little bit of it and I did it again. And I think I threw that away, and that was my experience
Yeah.
with it.
So is it Adderall or?
No,
no.
You have to snort it like coke.
It's speed is made by bikers in
Right, I bought it
sinks.
from bikers.
It's usually in those days it was yellowy.
And lumpy. This was lumpy.
It wasn't like a pure white
yeah,
crystalline
no.
television. It didn't fall down in beautiful flakes. It was a messy affair.
Yeah, it wasn't. No.
It tasted shitty, and it made the back of your throat feel like the taste was unforgettable. It's horrible. No, this wasn't Adderall. We didn't, like I said, the Black Beauties were really strong with them.
The Black Beauties,
those were like Dexedrine
will
or whatever.
fucking
They'll
kill you.
fuck you up.
And then I got into those.
Yeah.
But then my buddy's like, "You're eating them?
Yeah.
Pop them open and snort
Right,
them."
right.
So the last experience I had with those was those things, and I was selling them.
Yeah.
I was getting them in Pennsylvania and bringing them back to North Bergen and selling them. And it got to the point I would just pop them in my nose.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And what is the point? Because I know
To stay up for 2 fucking days and
Yeah.
talk
You-
endlessly.
You could do any other drug on top of it
Oh,
because it was
God.
so strong and the speed jacked you so hard that you could drink all you wanted, smoke dope all you wanted, take acid, whatever, and just be cranked out. And if you did not sleep well, fitful, but you could do a lot of things. You went like the wind.
Students are doing the study. I didn't. My friends are doing the
I
lose
didn't do
weight.
it to study.
The
I did it to-
wrestlers
yeah.
did it to lose weight,
Right.
and then
I did it to get high and to work.
The first thing I ever snorted that was very popular was what you said was THC crystal. That was
Right.
what they sold it at, but it was Gorilla Tranquilizers.
It was dust, yeah.
It was dust, and that tasted sensational.
Yeah.
And I had done it all summer long. I would do it on the weekends with a friend of mine who I still talk to, and I got a lung infection from Paraquat
Right.
when they sprayed the pot.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. They came into the room, they go, "Tomorrow you're getting scheduled for surgery. It's minor surgery. What we're going to basically do is put you out and then get a tube and go into your lung and scrape your lung and see what's in there, and then we'll analyze and get back to you." I'm like, my mom's going to fucking find out.
Right.
I did that THC. I might as well tell her before she finds out.
Yeah.
And I finally said, fuck that. I ain't committing the dick. Let her come in here and shake me down. I'll play it off like maybe I ate weed or something.
Yeah.
And they never said nothing about it. But I did it. I did that for about 6 months. I liked the taste of it. Then I did the blow. And then I did that shit. That speed stuff. I didn't really like that stuff. And over the years, I've done it. Like, if I'm out and somebody... you're at a club in, like, fucking Portland or something. Not even Portland. Last time I did it was in the Boise, Idaho. The Boise
that's a good
Funny
place
Bone.
to do it, yeah.
I went to the bar, and at the bar, 2 people offered me powder, and I took one, and when I went to the bathroom, I realized, wait a second, this ain't blow.
Yeah.
This is fucking... I said,
And you can tell instantly.
instantly. And once I did it, they kicked the mule, And I gave the package back, and I go, how back at one bump, dude?
Right.
Oh, my God. In Boise, did you ever work that room?
No.
Boise?
But I've been to Boise.
Boise had a pretty cool Funny Bone, but the hotel was very rustic. It was from 1920,
Right.
and people like to stay there. I don't like those hotels, all right? Give me a fucking Motel 6, all right? Those hotels from the 1800s that George Washington stayed
George
at,
Michael.
whatever his fucking name is. That's not for me. I don't give a fuck.
George Michael slept here.
Lee, you obviously he's been in those rooms in Vegas. When you do a Vegas room, they give you a suite.
Yeah.
And you bring Lee upstairs, and we eat stars, and we watch TV, and Lee's like, this is the biggest room I've ever seen in my life. Listen to me. The room they put you at in Boise, Idaho, made those Vegas rooms look like dick. It was so big I get lost.
Was it like a house?
It was 4 rooms to a floor. I'm telling you, this is when hotels were hotels.
Yeah.
They rejuvenated it and put bars on it, but it creaked.
Right.
Can you imagine doing a line of fucking meth in
Right.
a room that creaks? Every time the wind blew, the whole fucking... And I would have to get up. I couldn't jerk off in the shower. There was 6 showers in the fucking room.
Right.
You know, you had to see this. Dining room, 3 showers, 4 toilets.
Right. You had a supervillain meeting.
And it was, I did the meth. I went upstairs. I go, I'll be up till 3,
Right.
2. I was up for 2 fucking days.
Yeah. They weren't goofing around.
I stayed up all night Friday.
Right.
All night
Did the
Saturday.
show the next night.
All night when you're in bed going, I'm going to fall asleep. And all of a sudden you're like, no, you're not. And it would just come back and hit you. And if you smoked a joint, it would come back and smack you around. I was like, I'll never do that shit again.
How was your comedy show?
Horrific. And that was 96, summer of 96. And the headliner was Chris Titus.
I know Christopher.
And then I moved to L.A. years later, and I go on a Creative International tour. This is when Creative was Creative. They still had Carrot Top.
Right.
And they would put you in all those 5 one-nighters that paid. It wasn't a Tribble tour. Tribble paid $75 and $1.25.
Right.
These guys paid $175 and $250.
Right.
Which you can make a fucking living on, on a Tribble run. So I took a week. And at that time, it was 99, 98. I was living in L.A. I would go to the comedy store, pick up a package. It was just a part of life. Now I'm in fucking bumfuck Tennessee, and that's okay for one night. Then I go somewhere else, and that's okay for 2 nights. By Thursday, I don't have to tell you, Greg Proops. I needed something. I needed a quicker picker-upper. You know what I'm saying? I needed something to put Uncle Joey back together.
Yeah.
So Friday night, I'm in this town, and I got the 10 monkeys on my back, scratching. And finally, I just went by the bathroom, and I just waited for the first person to go.
Yeah.
And finally, some guy went in there with work boots and fucking ripped jeans. It smelled like a fucking ape. And I heard him sniffing. I caught him in the hallway, and I go, Doug, you got to give me some of that. And he goes, absolutely. I'll finish mine, but you got to follow me after the show. So the feature act had a car. I go, come on.
Yeah.
Follow this guy. This went on for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
He takes me into this fucking thing. He took me right to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you I knew what was going on.
Right.
I got out of the car. He goes, what do you want? I go, whatever. Get me a gram. How much? He goes, give me $25. I go, who the fuck are you buying this Coke from?
Yeah.
He goes, it ain't Coke.
Yeah, it ain't Coke.
It's crank, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it. And at that point, I followed you all the way out here. I don't do crank, but fuck it. Give it to me anyway, because I don't want to go home empty-handed. Oh, my God. I did 2 bumps that I threw the rest out. That shit was pure,
Yeah.
Night Train. I never did it again. That was the last time.
You can kill your sinuses, too.
Kill it.
Just kill them. Because you're not flushing them out in those days. You don't fucking, And you can get real sick off
I'm
it.
very happy. I knock on wood. I never got hooked on it. I got dear friends that started fucking around with that shit. And next thing you know, their son called me and said, dog, they're in there 4 days smoking. They don't even come out to eat. They don't even come out to eat.
Yeah.
They buy a big chunk on Friday and they don't come out till they just go in the shower, fuck, and come out. This is a kid that's 25 calling me and telling me about his parents that are both fucking close to 50.
Jesus Christ! Like the only experience I've ever had with that is like I thought truckers did it. I didn't know people actually did it for like fun. I thought it was like people who were doing it to stay up, just to stay up.
A lot of people are, but a lot of people do it.
Dog, when I first started Triple Runs, I would eat those no doses and drink Mountain Dew.
Oh yeah, I would eat no doses all
My
the time.
fucking mind would blow, but nothing like when you do a line of that
Oh,
shit.
no.
Nothing Lee, and it plays with you. Like you'll start going, fucking Joey lied to me. He says I was going to be up all night.
Yeah.
Boy, he's a fucking asshole. And all of a sudden you lay down and you're like, in bed, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And you'll jerk off 9 times, Lee. Nothing comes out. Blood comes out. IOUs come out. And you're sitting there like, what the fuck? And it's 2 PM. The house is creepy. If you go out, something feels weird. Remember we're talking about tweaking?
Yeah, I didn't like those no doses because
No.
Like I would feel like tired, but I just couldn't fall asleep. It's a terrible feeling. Like it almost hurts to be tired. Like you're so tired it hurts. What is it like on the second day of being awake? I've only done that once, and I think,
Your mood does not improve.
No, I can imagine.
Your mood descends rapidly, and after a week or two of it, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. When I was a teen, I didn't really do it after that. Other drugs, but not meth was the only really worked for the guy who, and and like I said, when you worked in restaurants, but that we didn't snort meth in restaurants. We took whites or black.
I didn't do either. In the restaurants I worked at in Aspen, you snorted coke.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's Aspen.
83, you snorted fucking mountains.
Yeah.
Those cooks were back there. The one cook was a dealer. The busboy was dealing.
Well, that's the thing. Every restaurant.
Oh my God.
Restaurants were all. You didn't have to go to because there was dealers.
I went to Colorado to get away from it. Here I am in New York City. I'm in Colorado.
Yeah.
The first month I'm great. I'm not itching for it. It's not around me. I'm going to bars. I'm meeting people. I'm mingling. I'm not fucking dependent. I'm not even asking people for it. And then I moved to Snowmass Village, and then somebody offered it to me, And then I would just do a little package on Friday nights. I'd watch that Night Flight, and do a little package on USA, and I'd bang one out at 6 and go to bed. Nobody knew nothing. And then somebody says to me, "Dog, what are you doing?" I go, "I shovel snow in the daytime." They go, "Listen, come up to the Tower." It was John Denver's restaurant. Come up there and be a dishwasher. Pays you $50, and we'll get you a job on Tuesdays. It's prime rib night. You lift weights and stuff. You eat prime rib. We'll give you prime rib shrimp. And it was a complete. I thought like I was the king of coke in New York. Yeah. These guys had me beat. Yeah. Colorado blew my mind at a young age. Like to what I thought I thought I was going to be around a bunch of fucking white dudes that shoveled snow and went skiing.
Yeah.
They threw me into Snowmass, Aspen, which was completely out of my expectations. I didn't think there was going to be cocaine up there. I thought there was going to be a little weed and you had to fight for it. And I mean, these guys, the one guy was from San Francisco, and the one guy was from like Seattle or something. And these guys, from the minute I walked in there, every 20 minutes on the 20.
Oh, yeah.
They tap you on the shoulder and say, "Go in the freezer." And you went in the freezer, and there was a line of coke, 2 inches. Yeah. I was 19. Right. By fucking 11:30, I'd be out of my mind. And then they'd give me a pound of shrimp. They'd steal shrimp and go, "Take that on us." Who wants shrimp? Yeah. I can't eat fucking shrimp.
Right. You can't eat a cracker.
How was that shrimp last night? What the fuck are you talking about? I only did it Tuesdays, but then it was such a good time, and you snorted so much blow. Then I said, "Give me more shifts." Yeah. And they started giving me like Thursdays and Sundays. These guys were fucking animals, Lee. Yeah. And it was I was around people they would be fucking wrecked by 11 because they'd be drinking. I didn't drink.
Yeah.
They'd be fucking drinking behind the line. After that, we clean up and we go back to one of their houses. And the guy would pull fucking bags and shoot darts. I go, these guys are fucking animals. Yeah. I mean, I thought I hung out with animals back there. I got to show them these fucking gorillas.
It's crazy how, I guess, sheltered I was. Because the most I ever saw was weed. And I've never in my life ever had an experience with a dealer. So it blows my mind to hear that there's so many people dealing drugs. I can't.
I'm going to tell you one better, Lisa. I'm going to give this to Greg Proops. And anybody could steal this because it doesn't matter. We all have 10 different experiences. In your spare time, you're an author, because I'm going to do it. I'm going to write about my 10 favorite drug dealers of all time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's something that it's going to go from here to here. Like from here to here. And I'm not talking about weed. I had some pretty cool weed dealers. I'm talking about people when it gets out there that they can have a kilo of coke in their apartment, a couple fucking grenades, and and microwave ovens for sale, like that type of combo. Like I've been to those houses where you need a microwave oven, man. What are you talking about? Yeah, you need a microwave. I'm here to buy 6 ounces of blow. What are you talking? I got microwaves. I got leather jackets.
Yeah.
You know, I got barbiturates.
Right.
And you're like, not like I have. When you were telling me that story about that crazy guy up there, I kept thinking about this guy. One of my first drug dealers, his name was Patty. And he worked for a TV station at the time. He had like a good job, but he was one of the pioneers of coke. Like I knew my family was into it, and I knew people at the bar. I'm talking about my first experience of one on the outside. Another fucking dude that always wore a robe and slippers.
Right.
You know, he always had a robe on.
The Prince.
He always had some chair. He lived in a studio apartment, but he had the, circle couch. I mean, this was as Studio 54 as can be. He always had studio music on, and really creepy guy, whatever. Yeah. I dealt with him for like 2 years, and then he moved on and I moved on. I forgot about it, and about a year and a half ago, I'm on Facebook, and who do I see?
Patty.
This fucking guy. And guess what? He hasn't stopped suntanning.
Right. Now he's
since those days.
Yeah.
Like he was one of those guys that
now he's a date.
Listen, don't come between 8 and 9 because you know I suntan, okay?
Right.
What are you he was one of those guys that, but I saw him. I had some interesting.
That's a very good idea for a book.
The top 10 drug dealers in your fucking world.
Out of how many do you think? Roughly.
35, 40.
See, how do you think people get drugs, Lee?
I'd really
America's
have to
awash in drugs.
I don't know. I imagine in like every town there's like one guy who's shady who has drugs. I guess in bigger cities, but
no,
I don't know.
Middle America is where there's drugs.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like meth and all that is an oxy. But we didn't do those. Oxy wasn't a drug. We had Quaaludes.
Tumenols, Quaaludes.
Reds, I guess.
Something else. There was something.
And we took in California. We were more mushroom weed.
We were more acid.
And we took acid too.
There was all those.
There was always acid.
There was no mushrooms when I was growing up.
Right.
And I left Jersey in '83. I never had a fucking mushroom. Okay, I had heard people speaking about it. My buddy went to ASU. Where's ASU?
Tempe.
And he called me. He said, "Dog, get on a fucking plane. These motherfuckers are eating shrooms, growing them, and smoking them. They go in teepees, and they're sitting there for 3 days. They take their shoes off, because I had never seen that. People taking their shoes off from fucking Jersey. Keep your shoes on.
Right.
I'll never forget them saying that to me. People take their shoes off,
People
and
take
I'm
their
like,
shoes off.
my God. And I heard. We did the microdot acid, the little dot, and we did paper and 4-way.
Yeah.
That was it. Double barrel, sunshine, all that shit came on paper. Coke, heroin, crank, the pills, and that was it. Once I got to Colorado, everything switched over
to coke.
Everything switched over to mushrooms in my world,
right?
Which I never liked because I got diarrhea. Greg Proops. 4 hours in, everybody's having a good time in the fucking bathroom, looking around with fluid coming out of your ass. This ain't a trip. This is a fucking nightmare. You know what I'm saying? There's a hot chick out there showing a pussy,
right?
And I'm in here shitting blood.
The thing about mushrooms is they're difficult on your digestive system. They even make you feel like you're going to throw up when you first eat them sometimes.
This poor bastard.
Oh yeah,
he turns purple.
Well, okay. Can you wash the shit off of them? He brings them to me. You can't even tell.
That's part of the whole mission. That's part of the mission.
What are you talking about?
That's part of the mission.
You're supposed to just snarf them down or eat it on a piece of pizza. That's what we used to do in college.
Yeah. That would be. There's no pizza here. He just hands me like these brown.
No, you just chew them and wash that shit down and try to get the flavor out of your mouth.
Ugh.
And it's funny because you deal with. I had a teacher that sold coke. And didn't tell me till after I graduated high school, after he knew I was officially out. He came to me one day and he was just snorting garbage. Let me show you what I got, and he was part of these people, and he was a white dude, so he was like, I deliver to people that don't want a Spanish dude in their house. They call them, but they call me and tell me where to take it. So he was a fucking nutcase, but a good guy. I love till this day. He won't friend me on Facebook. Every 2 years it ends, I click him the next fucking day, friend request. He just didn't like
That's hilarious.
I used to go into the city, and I had a Dominican dude. I had a Colombian dude. In 1982, I already had my own personal Colombians. And I would go over there, and they had a disco, and it doubled as a Coke place.
Nice.
And until I went over there, there was a guy dead in front of the place. And I was still selling Coke. Yeah, these guys were real.
Yeah.
Once that's the extreme. You deal with people who are just people who have a day job, who like to go out on Fridays and Saturdays and snort for free, and they sell Coke. They're just nice people, and they do you a favor. Or you deal with, there's such an extreme that you bump into as you're going through. In 84, I bought Coke from time to time from a Colombian dude that put it in a leaf.
Really?
Oh, he blew your mind. And
leaf?
And all the white dudes used to call him Loco.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what he was known as, Loco. And he was dark-skinned Colombian.
Yeah.
And when he showed up to that bar,
right,
and he would have 1,000 leaves with rope around him. But it sucked because then when he gave it to you, he was all fucked up.
Yeah.
And you got to hold it onto a leaf. And
I was going to say, wouldn't you rather have it in a bindle?
Oh my God. And he was getting shit in 84 that was just...
Right, of course.
Make you go home pale. Like he went home with no blood and you like Dracula came into your life. It was just fucking terrible, terrible times if you think back at them. But fun, you're like... I was having a fun time then, snorting for 3 days, looking out a window, getting my dick sucked with dead dick. What are you going to do? Life goes on. Yeah. Thank God comedy saved our lives. At least gave us a direction.
I think so. That was the... I think, like the reason you said you went into it, I think it's the only honest reason, I wanted to do it, and I didn't really like anything else. And I decided even in my comedy career, I just don't listen to people as much as I ought to sometimes, and I don't want to be told what to do that much. And stand-up and comedy offers you the freedom to do kind of what you want, and with a minimum of people that you have to deal with, sort of. And that direction was way too appealing. Every crap job I had, I hated. My last job, I was a schmendrick in a law office. I, sent faxes and, I pretended I was dead. I remember for one day, laid on the floor because I hated it so much. And this is the even better part, you guys. I'm pretending to be dead on the floor, and no one came in. And there's nothing sadder than when you get up and you haven't even got the reaction that you want. Like I wanted one of the lawyers to walk in and go, "Greg, what's going on?" And me go, "Oh, I can't take it anymore." And nothing. I laid there, and then I got up.
Nobody gave a fuck.
Oh, fucking. And all the lawyers then were doing a lot of, this was the 80s in San Francisco. They were doing coke. A couple of them were bouncing off the walls. And then there was the guy whose firm it was, and he was a straight arrow. And his father worked there too, and he was a straight arrow. But one of the cats had defended Sonny Barger and Sarah Jane Moore. So I used to go into his office. His name was Frank Bell. I don't know if he's alive still. He was quite a good lawyer. And we would smoke. He'd close the door, and we'd just smoke cigarettes and talk. And he would tell me, like, what it was like. Sarah Jane Moore tried to shoot President Ford in San Francisco in front of the Fairmont Hotel in 1974. And she got off, I think, a round, didn't she? Before they knocked her down or whatever. And she might have got off a couple. And
people were shooting presidents more than...
Squeaky Fromm and Sarah Jane Moore both took a shot at President Ford. But Squeaky Fromm, I think, might have attacked him with a knife. And they knocked her down. And she was in the Manson family. The 70s were pretty, and then Patty Hearst got kidnapped when I was in high school.
Okay, it started with Kennedy. Then his brother got shot.
Right.
One day. I still remember being a
Malcolm
little
X.
kid. All of a sudden, people were getting shot for real.
Yeah.
And then the 70s brought in a complete different
George
party.
Wallace got shot in 72.
George Wallace. Who else? Something else.
Well, they tried to shoot Ford twice, and that didn't work.
Oh, no, we're talking about Reagan.
Reagan got shot in 80.
Right, 80. Who else did they try to shoot? What presidents? Other presidents tried to get assassinated?
Well, every president, pretty much. Roosevelt, they tried a bunch of times. Andrew Jackson, I think, personally disarmed a couple people that tried to kill him. Kennedy, definitely. Ford, yeah. Clinton and Obama, we don't know. I mean, people do crazy shit and tried to break into the White House, but that's just crazy shit.
No, nobody really went for it.
It's a very horrible history of assassination, which is why it's very dangerous to say people should shoot people and stuff, because this is that country. 4 assassinated presidents and at least 8 or 10 others that they tried to kill at different points.
And they never shot Castro.
600 assassination attempts, they said.
That's bullshit.
And what was it? It took the year 2016 to kill him. That's what someone said. Well, Castro, the fact that we hadn't had relations with him until last year is the part that just blows my mind. Like, really? He hasn't been, prime minister or premier or whatever for a while now, 4 or 5 years. His brother took over, right? Raul. He was a dictator, so positives are hard to find. But I will say he ejected the mafia out of Cuba, and that might have been his greatest accomplishment. The revolution, getting America and organized crime out of Cuba, was a vast undertaking, I think, at the time. Putting people in camps and prisoning people with AIDS, not so great.
Fucking, making people leave.
Oh my God, how many people left?
Listen, how many people are out there? How many people said, you know what, I can't take this starvation and this getting put in jail. I'm just going to get on a fucking raft and take a shot at shark-infested waters.
Yep.
How crazy is that you would take your fucking child when he's 2 or 3, like Elian Gonzalez,
right.
go, we're leaving this fucking nightmare of a town, I mean, it was, it's a long time. Long fucking time. It's scary.
I think the best part is that now that we've got relations with them, it's only inevitable.
We got no fucking relations with them. We got shit with them.
Well,
Fidel closed that door and said, fuck that Pope and fuck that. And I guarantee he said something derogatory because he's Cuban. He said something fucking derogatory. You don't want me to say it on the show. So, he just played along. Fidel has more money than God.
Oh, yeah.
He was also involved with the cartel. I mean, when that guy went to prison, he went up in front of a judge. He gave him the proof about Fidel. He goes, listen, you guys were looking for the fucking us in Colombia. We were in Cuba.
Right.
We cut a deal with him for $800,000 a ship.
Wow.
Well, if we put the whole ship filled with blow, or 2 kilos, he got $800,000. We were shipping him out of Cuba. Yeah. He made money on that. He took over all that. I don't know if he took over Batista's money. I think Batista left with that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Batista left with his, and Meyer Lansky had his out as he was coming in. Meyer Lansky was having that wired to Rabinowitz, and Ben Benowitz's office. That was going right through a direct fucking wire. That wasn't even laying around that 1 minute. It was very sad what Fidel did and how he did it. He lied to these people that were already getting beat up for the last fucking 10 years.
Right.
At the end of Batista's reign, it was 3 years of hell. There was no police no more.
Right.
They just get out of cars and break your fucking skull and leave you there.
Yeah.
There was no more. They were horrible. And then came this guy who promised you this and this.
Right.
And also,
everyone's going to eat.
And also one day he knocks on your door, Greg Proops, and says, listen, did you get the letter? And you're like, what letter? This house is part of the revolution.
Right.
You got to go. Shit like this. And you're like, where do I go? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's your fucking problem. There was just so many injustices. And then the 70s, he really tightened up.
Yeah.
He really fucked with those people. And that's what, when my mom died, one of the really big things that was found was a letter from her family in Cuba, just basically fucking denouncing her. And we got it the day she died. That was the mail that was on the table.
Oh, my God.
She hadn't even read it yet. So we're like, and I remember my stepdad calling me into the room and going, come here for a second. Read this. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he goes, what happened was, when she sold the bar, there was no other way to wire money to that fucking place for my sister. So they had actually mail checks and stuff. And Cuba was taking half the money. So my family thought my mom wasn't sending the right amount. I mean, it was just a horrible letter. We, about a year ago, about 2-3 years ago, I opened up communications with my sister, And one day I just asked, I go, what the fuck was going on at that time? And they go, let me tell you what was really going on, okay? They had us brainwashed. They made us believe that we had family in the United States that were garbage. We weren't allowed to communicate with them. And those letters that were written with them in the room. Like it was one of those
Oh,
things.
right.
To tell your relatives not to send,
forced.
Don't fucking do this no more. Don't do this no more. Don't do that no more. Is it true? I don't fucking know. I was in New Jersey with my own problems, For me, it means that it didn't affect me, but in many ways it did. Like I said, I grew up with the hatred around me. And then as I got older, I said, what am I angry at this dude for? Then I watched this TV show, Syatt. In the first 30 episodes, it's Fidel taking over Cuba little by little and the promises he made and how he had these young kids dedicate themselves. And then I remembered all the bad shit, and then he dies last fucking week. So for me, I just feel happy for those people. It causes a lot of chapters' lives for a lot of people.
What is it like for you to hear, like, there's, like, the, when people are pro Castro? I can see, like, there are people coming out who are like, did good things. And that's just, like, all I've heard was all terrible things.
He did 6 great things. But he did 2,000 really bad things. See, listen, this country has already forgiven, and I'm not picking at a scab. We've already forgiven the guy who killed all the dogs.
Michael Vick.
It's forgotten. America's on to more different problems. What the fuck are you mad about from 1959?
Yeah.
Do you know from 59 to 61 or 62 or something, he was cool. And then something went wrong somewhere, and he went fucking ape shit, and that's when the gays started getting killed, and he became even more racist and all this shit. And nobody who even listens to the podcast was there. I wasn't there.
Right.
I wasn't there. But I saw the people's pain around me. I saw, when I talk to you about the San Francisco 49ers, you might get a little hot with me, but not that your face gets red and you get tears in your eyes and you have a vein in your neck. I saw those reactions from people when Cuba or Fidel was brought up. Over the holidays, these people were shot. I come to your house, Lee, in Boston, take you out of your house, and you got to leave your mother in Boston and move to California. And you don't know the language. And you don't know how to get back. You don't even know the fuck you are. What now?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What now? It's fucking crazy. So how many families he broke up? Your mom is over there and you're here, but at any time you go home. Tomorrow you go home. Not there, All those baseball players that defected. You know what they did to their families and shit? Horrible fucking things, so.
Well, there was no Cubans in the bigs from 59 till, gee whiz, like the 80s.
Really? That long?
Yeah. Because remember when, what's his name, the Duke pitched for the Yankees? He had defected.
The last 2 I remember is Louis Tiant.
Well, Louis Tiant was
Boston Red Sox. But he left Cuba in like 61. I see what you're saying. You're absolutely correct.
Not that many players defected and were able to play in
the
bigs.
if you look at Louis Tiant made a statement the other day about the whole thing, and underneath it told his story, and it said that he left Cuba in 61. So you're absolutely right. And somebody else.
Tony Perez?
Bango, you bad motherfucker, you. They don't even make them like Greg Proops no more.
They were great players, man. And Louis Tiant's father was also a giant star in the Caribbean and in the Negro Leagues. Tianta used to give post-game press conferences naked with a cigar. And he was fantastic. He also almost completely, on his pitching motion, turned and faced center field and then would deliver the ball. He had a tremendous motion. I always thought he should go in the Hall of Fame. He has like 250 wins. And for money, he was really good.
I felt that I had no fucking idea who he was. I was a Tony Perez fan because Tony Perez and my dad grew up together.
Really?
In Camagüey, Cuba. So after my dad died, whenever Tony Perez would come to New York to play against the Mets, him and my mom and his wife would get together.
Really?
And I was telling Lee, in '73, the Mets played the Reds in the East Coast, in the National League. And I had the chicken pox, so I couldn't go to school. So my mom was like, you might as well come to the fucking playoff games. So I go to the one game, and that's when Pete Rose beat up on Bud Harris.
Yeah,
oh
famous.
God, tremendous. I had to show Lee, this is just And I'm not putting Lee down at all. There's no reason for this. One night, Lee and I had a conversation, and we talked about Pete Rose and how funny he was during the World Series this year. And the next day I came in here and I go, Lee, put on these videos. I showed him the All-Star Game video that he never saw.
Ray Fosse.
It's and this is like a TV show, Greg, that I think you and I need to pitch. Let's and this is Nat Geo. Like, we need to go to Nat Geo with this show and go, listen, there's a generation of kids that I had my friend bring their kids over, and they're 21, and I looked at them, and I go, you guys ever see a Bruce Lee movie? And they looked at me, and they go,
right, who's Bruce Lee?
And they go, no, not really. And I put on Chinese Connection, which the second one, when he goes to the school and they kill the master, that's one of the best films ever fucking made. The last 20 minutes of that is pure torture. They were sweating, their faces were red. I'm like, you guys never saw this? They're like, no. There's a whole... When Lee told me I thought Lee grew up a real hardcore baseball fan, and somewhere along the line, Lee will stay up on that computer all night. Somewhere along the line, he'd say, what the fuck did Pete Rose? Why don't they put him in the Hall of Fame and look it up and look at one of his videos? So, I'm a Cincinnati Red fan, fucking diehard.
Really? You're not a Yankees or Mets fan?
Fuck no. My mom was a Met fan, and I would go to the games. I liked Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
I liked, there was a couple Mets I liked. Rusty Staub. My mom threw a chicken wing at him.
What?
Because she lost a game. My mom used to fucking go to my mom was, listen, Cubans love baseball, okay?
Yeah.
And when you bet the game, that's a complete different level of love.
Yeah.
And when you make an error in right field, we got a problem. So my mom would sit there, eat the wings, and as he would run back, she'd throw the fucking wings at him and call him La Ruta, de carajo, hijo de puta, and all this shit, and say shit to him. So I grew up, I like baseball. I like going to watch the Pittsburgh Pirates with Willie Stargell and Manny Sanguillen and Clemente and who else did I like back then? I liked the Dodgers. Dodgers were great when you lived. Dodgers were great. Say whatever the fuck you want. The Giants were great. They had Willie McCovey.
I'm a Giants fan.
And they had my
I was
man
very familiar with
Orlando
the Dodgers.
Cepeda and
Yeah,
shit, right?
yeah.
They had, I knew Orlando Cepeda from Santeria gatherings.
Really?
When I was a kid, yeah.
Really?
And I used to play baseball with his son. And I remember he's out of baseball already at this time. This is 70.
Late 70s? No, he played till 75.
This is 73.
Yeah.
And he had a first baseman's glove. I had baseball gloves, but I never had a first
Right.
baseman's glove.
Right.
So he was over there all weekend. We're playing baseball. We're killing chickens.
Yeah.
We're doing the whole fucking thing, and all of a sudden the weekend ends. And I got the glove in my room, and I'm like, he's going to fucking forget.
Right.
I just hit the jack button. This ain't just a first baseman's glove. This is a fucking
Orlando Cepeda. Autographed,
first baseman's glove.
Model.
I don't even think it was autographed.
No, I meant the...
Yeah.
It was right, like
fucking-
Rawlings, Orlando Cepeda first.
And as they're in the car waving, the kid goes, hold on, I don't have my glove. I go, you took it. And he's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, you left it in the room with your T-shirt. Oh. So you fucked up. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I almost had a fucking Orlando Cepeda glove.
Wow.
But I went to one of the most thrilling...
My baseball glove was a Pete Rose glove.
I loved all that Pete Rose shit. I loved everything about... I loved that style of baseball. That aggressive, fuck home runs. All we need is a guy to get on first to get this party started type. They would just torment baseball pitchers. But I loved that style. But by my American League team, on the sly, was kind of the Red Sox. They had a pretty good team.
Oh, yeah?
I fucking hated the Yankees. I hated the Yankees, and I hated their announcers. I think they grew up on WPIX.
Was Mel Allen the announcer then?
I don't fucking know. I hated it. I couldn't even listen. Phil Rizzuto.
Oh, Rizzuto, right, of course,
Phil
the Scooter
Rizzuto,
forever.
the whole fucking
yeah,
deal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was a big Boston Red Sox fan. If they were on TV, I'd watch them. There were a couple play. I always loved Carlton Fisk.
He was a great player.
I just loved.
I was at his last game.
Dog, I loved his everything.
He was a red ass.
Yeah, like I loved his everything, so I liked that style of baseball, and all of a sudden they had to play the Reds in the World Series. And my mom's tormenting me, Cuban style.
Yeah.
Cuban style. So what are you gonna do now that you little faggy fucking Cincinnati Reds, Las Rojas?
Yeah.
Las Rojas, red is a girl's color. What are you gonna fucking do? You little Cincinnati Las Rojas, and I'm living under this fucking torment. And I just said, listen, put your fucking money where your mouth is, all right? I win. I live like a doctor. I don't have to do dishes. I don't do my own laundry no more. All that shit's done. And she's like, it's on. But it wasn't about that with her. It was going to be 2 or 3 months of constant torture. And then everything I fucked up, she'd go, just the same way you like the Reds. It's not too late. You could still be a Boston Red. Like my mom was one of those torture chambers. My sheets were going to be red. She was going to just torment me. I could not lose. It wasn't about the money. It was about the dignity against a Cuban woman. It's enough to destroy you. So when they played in the World Series, I was in a fucking dilemma. But the Boston Red Sox brought in Tiant's parents from Cuba. Game 2, Game 3, one of those games. And I never forgot the Red Sox for that. I said, you know what? That's when Fidel was hard. 75, 76, Fidel wasn't playing. You got to show up there with a big envelope. Yeah. Boston Red Sox is not known for a big payroll.
No.
So for them to get Tiant's parents over meant the world to me. I was like, he gets a pitch in the World Series. Yeah. He did that documentary. He went back to Cuba after 46 years and said what a fucking nightmare it was, blah, 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 blah.
There's an article on Vice about it. Apparently it was the first time in 14 years that he pitched in front of his parents.
Yeah, no. Yeah. This is tremendous shit. And you know what? I'm sorry, guys. You know what? I like sports from time to time. But I like good old American sports. I like good old American sports. I don't need to see a Pepsi commercial 85 fucking times. I grew up on that, and that stayed in my mind. And that's how I still remember sports. And that's how it should be played. How Pete Rose played the game. Do I agree with his gambling? Not at all. But I've been there. What are you going to do? He got caught. He paid his due to society. He's still one of the top 5 players of all fucking time, especially when the game got down and dirty. That shit in the All-Star game, till this day, I'm 53 years old. That Hank Aaron's home run, I remember where I was. It was on 7th and Bergen Line Avenue at my friend Digna's house with a little kid. He hit that home run. To me, that was like fucking... I was so excited for him. Remember when we were kids, Lou Brock was a bad motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
He used to steal tons of bases and shit. I
had Lou Brock Converse shoes.
Hey, who the fuck you think you're dealing with, Greg Proops? Some fucking novice? You think I just showed up with a fucking a Giants shirt? Like, oh my God, I love the I love the Giants. You're like, really? What's your favorite team? Last year's. Yeah. You're like, get the fuck out of my face, amateur. Today I'm not in touch with nothing. I told Lee the other day, a friend came over and I watched a little football, and I watched, not the Raider game. Was it the Raider game? Raider Carolina. And that was the first time I had really watched more than 3 minutes of football.
Yeah.
And I watched the game, and the whole time I'm like, fuck, this is a great game. I go, Carolina's great. The Raiders have been doing well. And all of a sudden they show the fucking Carolina record. They're like 3-7 or something. Mm. I'm like, that's how much I know about football.
Right.
Like, back 20 years ago, I knew stats, quarterbacks. You know, I think I stopped after I ended football as like a fucking San Francisco 49er fan. When I was in high school, they won me a fortune. When that fucking Clark caught that ball, I had the over, I had the Niners, and that pick not only got me, that almost got my head knocked off. Because I got really fucking coked up that Friday night and really drunk. And some kid came in that me and him didn't see eye to eye. And he kept talking about the fucking Dallas Cowboys. And in my cocaine haze, this kid could have killed me. Yeah. I looked at him and I go, listen, let's put $1,000 down. You know, I didn't have $2 in my pocket. But that's how much I knew the Niners were going to win. Because they were getting a point at home.
No.
You're not coming into my fucking house. The only team I lost to this year was those fucking New Orleans Saints that stayed in my ass for years. The Niners couldn't figure out how to beat the fucking Saints.
What about the Niners? Not to, I don't want to depress you, but they just really, they went from Super Bowl contender to, I think they have one win this year.
We're in a rebuilding phase now, as they say.
I don't understand Super Bowl teams and teams that go far 1 year. Then the management goes, okay, this is what we invested all this money for. Was that moment? It didn't happen. Break up this fucking team. Let's start anew with a new budget. I never understood that mentality in sports. All that type mentality.
Harbaugh wasn't a good fit for San Francisco either, and nobody really liked him. And they were pretty much glad to see a guy who got us to the Super Bowl and the playoffs. Glad to see him go. Also, that Super Bowl was a horrible Super Bowl. And that one seemed like there was gangsters' hands all over it. When the fucking lights went off at the Superdome at the halftime for 20 minutes, and then they're like, oh, now New Orleans is ice cold, and we came back and scored, 3 touchdowns and still couldn't win it? I just thought, ugh.
I remember the last Super Bowl.
I remember standing drunk, screaming at the screen from 3 inches away as we lost.
Let me tell you something. I remember the last 15 Super Bowls. Like, I remember getting raped. Like, I just don't remember them at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how much.
No, I don't watch.
That's
Super Bowl.
how different.
The Niners one I watched.
That's how different my life was. There was a time where
you'd watch
the Super Bowl meant a gram of
Yeah,
blow,
yeah.
a case of beer, 3 Quaaludes, and that was just the start.
Yeah.
That was just halftime. Call me in the third quarter because we might need something. I want you to deliver it. I was one of those type of guys. And now I know nothing.
I know zero about baseball. Baseball is the one that I can't even keep up with. I don't even try anymore. It's been like 3 years. Because it's just too much.
But you'll watch a Red Sox game, or you stop watching the Red Sox.
If it's on Fox, but I don't have like the
Direct
local
TV,
Boston
okay.
station, so I'm not going to do that. And then it's just the players change so much. I always go when I'm home. But other than that, it doesn't seem. It's just 100. It's 162 games before the playoffs. So I just
6 months.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You got time to follow that when you're 15.
Yeah, I was going to say,
19.
I don't follow it as avidly as I do.
You read the articles.
I'm known as
you
a
get
baseball
up.
fan, but I really like old-time baseball more. And also, now I don't have time every day to follow every single team in the bigs and what they did and who their players are. This year, yes, because the Giants staggered into the playoffs. And also, I was on the road with Joel Murray. I'm in an improv group with him, and he's, the biggest Cubs fan in the world. So I had someone I could root for that, when the Cubs beat the Giants, it was like, fine. I want the Cubs to win the
I
World
watched a
Series.
few of those games. It's just amazing to me how I went from knowing the only one I did not. There was 2 sports I could not talk to you about ever, and that's hockey.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Nothing about hockey. I went to a few games, seemed interesting.
Right.
And college football moved too fast for me.
It's too complicated. There's too many teams.
There were teams that I zeroed in on and
Yeah.
I'd watch, and then people would say, no, watch these guys, and I'd watch. But besides that, I couldn't keep up with college football. If it was on, and I went at Lee's house, or I'm at your house, I'd say, put the fucking game on. What are we watching? This shit. Anything is better than, when you're 19, anything is better than fucking Division 9.
Yeah.
Could be anything better than what the fuck you're playing or whatever. So, but now, I know the TV service I have, there's like so many games. They have high school football.
Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not as much of an obsession anymore. Like you say, you kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it's getting older or what. I mean, if it's the Giants or the Niners, then I'm more interested. And I go to a couple baseball games every year, and I watch a few. I still follow it, but not. Like when I was first on the road 20 years ago or whatever, there was what was that? When you had to follow it in the newspaper, you get the paper in the morning and you read all the stats and read the standings and read all the game wrap-ups, and then, then the Sports Center started, and then you could see all the baseball highlights, which you never could before. You had to watch crappy local news, which would have 2 minutes of nothing. And now it's so much. People are on their phone every second. I don't know. My father was a compulsive gambler, and the one thing he didn't bet was sports. Sports was not his. Horses. He liked horses. But he called sports bettors bleeders because you have to wait 3 hours to lose.
That's what I like about it.
A bunch of fucking bleeders.
Horse race is over in 2 minutes.
2 minutes, and you know exactly where you stand,
Yep.
Jack.
And whether you're going to play the next race. But with sports, it's all day Sunday, all weekend, and then you can really blow it out betting sports.
It's funny. I like gambling, but I did not understand losing money, and I did not understand working hard and giving half your check away, and 3/4 of it away. I go to the track twice a year up here. I take $50, $60 with me. You got a bowl of chili, a beer.
Yeah.
And when the 60 disappears, you get in your car and go home.
Right. But that's not what real hardcore gamblers do.
No,
they're there to be alive every day.
No, but I learned because I also
course.
went to the track and won 900 and all of a sudden lost and had to walk home.
Right.
That was a horrible lesson for me as a young man. And then sports betting, it's a great idea where I'm from until you get in trouble with it.
Right.
And then you gotta leave town for a few years, and hopefully they forget by then, and then you move on. But once I got out of that shit, once I left Jersey, in all those years, I probably put in 10 bets, and 5 of them, or 6 of them, have been in Vegas. 2 of them have been here fucking around or whatever. But no. That's a horrible life to get involved in.
Yeah.
On top of the drugs I was already doing. I
Right.
can't have 19 drugs and gambling. Oh,
No.
you're going to burn in hell for a long time.
Yeah.
You need a bankruptcy for the fucking bankruptcy. What's up, Lee? Look at the shape of you.
I'm doing okay.
No, you're not. What's happening?
You go to bed, sweetie?
Look at the shape of you tonight.
Hey, what do we have?
Don't worry about what
at
we
least,
have.
at least
What are you
stay
going to
on
rat yourself
case.
out? What are the DAs listening? They're going to come to arrest you and shit. You need that aggravation in your
The
life.
DA is listening. They should have been here a while.
Does this show go out live to the DEA?
Yeah,
Sure.
straight,
Live
straight,
feed?
straight to the DA.
Yeah. I should think so.
At this point,
Can I ask you something? And if you don't want to talk about it, that's I understand.
All right, Lee.
But you were Bob the Builder.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like
I'll talk about Bob the Builder.
it's like a kid. Like it seems like to be
Hot with the under
yeah,
fives.
to like be like a star of the kid show. It's pretty cool.
I got it years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. We did it 2004, 2005, 2006. It ended around there somewhere. I went in to a studio in London. There was a company called HIT that used to make the show. Neil Morrissey, who's a British actor, was the British Bob the Builder. He had kind of a Paul McCartney, northern. He took like this, it's well done, Wendy. And I went in and I was doing all these funny voices. And then a woman came over the speaker and she goes, would you mind just doing it in your voice? And I said, are you insinuating that I have a funny cartoon voice? And she went, well, if you wouldn't mind reading it again, as yourself. So I went, well done, Wendy. You reduced and you recycled. And they were like, come out. And then this is the only time this ever happened to me, Joey. I went out into the studio and she goes, well, we've been having a chat and would you like to do it? Would you like to be Bob? And I was like, oh, I'd love to. That'd be fantastic. Terrific. Thank you. That's great. I shook hands with everybody. Walked out the door on the phone. Immediately to my voice agent in London. Fucking call them back right now. Before they fucking think about it. Before they change their mind. Call them right now. They just offered me the fucking part. So I did it for years. And I would fly to London. And we'd record like a couple dozen shows. And it was a studio in Soho. I would go around the corner to Bar Italia and have coffee in the morning. And then I'd go upstairs. At lunch, we'd have curry or Chinese food from a takeout, It was a fantastic gig. And then people would say to me, even Craig Ferguson said it to me, well, why don't they just record it here? Why don't you just record it in L.A.? And I'd go, shh. What do you mean, why don't we record in L.A.? They're flying me and my wife to London 3 times a year to record this cartoon.
They might be bugging me. Don't say that.
Right? And so we would get a trip to London. I put gigs with it, and we went to the World Cup, I remember, with Drew Carey in 2006 to do a TV show for like Discover. And I went and I did Bob the Builder. And our engineer was a really nice guy. He had a bad day this day. And he erased an entire day's worth of recording, right? Which was probably 16 shows, 16, 20 cartoons. And so I get my agent rings me. Could you come back to London? I'm like, well, I'm in the middle of kind of going to these football matches and I'm doing a TV show here. And they're like, oh no, they're going to pay you again for all of them. The engineer erased an entire day's worth of recording and you've got to come back in and do it. So I was flown from Frankfurt, I think, to London. And I went and did one day.
Same engineer, or was it?
No, they fired him.
He was in hell.
He was really nice. I loved him.
You won't see him though.
He came to the show once. We were playing the Comedy Store with the improv group, and he came out to the show. He was, oh, you're doing the show tonight? I love fucking see it. So I'm like, hey, I'll put you at the door for you, right? So he comes to the show. I've been working with him all day doing Bob, and he as we say in England, rat arsed. I mean, he fucking, hey man, how's it going? That guy fucking brilliant. Like, I'm like, wow, honey, you put it on before. Like this is a 2-hour improv show, and he was completely rat-assed. And so Bob the Builder was great, and then they sold the company, and that was that. And but I did it for 4 or 5 years, and it was really fun. The guy they had before me, I never liked, and I don't know who does it now. But people always go, well, why don't you do it again? It's like that's not how anything works. That's not how anything works. But I really enjoyed doing it. And we did a feature film, too, and that one we did from here. That one I remember doing from here. And Susie Quattro was in it. You remember Susie Quattro? Susie Quattro was one of the voices in Bob the Builder in this episode. I don't think she was Wendy, but she was like a cowgirl or something. She was a rock star in the 70s, a glam star. She made it big in England, then she came back to the States and was Leather Tuscadero, was it, on Happy Days or something? She was from Detroit. She was just a rocker girl. It
was Pinky Tuscadero?
There was Pinky, and I think Leather was her sister.
Yes.
And not Susie Quattro, but so Bob the Builder, thank you for asking. So people go, will you do the Bob the Builder voice? And I'm doing it. This is the Bob the Builder voice. The only difference would be I go, Lee, well done, you recycled.
Thank you.
And they go, and then, so because it was a British cartoon, and we were doing it for North America, they lived in a caravan. So I go, that's a trailer. And they would drink tea. And I'm like, no, coffee, And every once in a while something would slip through and they'd have rewritten it for North America. And I'd go, we don't say bits. We say parts. Part of it. They say, oh, bits and that. And it's like, we go, I have a part. This part goes here. And every once in a while I'd have to go, like, if you want it to sound like Americans talking, we go, I'm going to the trailer to get some coffee, not I'm nipping over to the caravan for some tea or whatever, right?
Right, yeah.
So I would say, like, we can't say this. And then...
Especially in construction.
Right, and he's a construction worker. And then there was, I can't remember the valley they lived in. I can remember some of the names. Muck was one of the characters, and Skeep, and... a bucket, a water bucket in England is sometimes called a butt, B-U-T-T. And one of the episodes I said to my wife was like a porn episode, Muck's water butt. But it just meant Muck's water bucket and shit. And then, so they would play it for me with the English version. And that was what I recorded too. We all came in separately. And the other actors in it were all Canadian in general. In London, when they can't find Americans to do American voices, they use Canadians because Canadians sound enough like us to do it. And Star Wars too. Me and Scott Capurro are both from San Francisco. They used us because they recorded in London, but they wanted the Padres to have American voices. And I'm doing bad Ron Fairley. If you remember, Ron Fairley played for the Dodgers, played for the Expos. He was the Giants announcer in the 80s, and he was incoherent. And Ron Fairley goes, oh, well, here comes Mark Grant out. Wait, no, scratch that. That's Mark Davis. Like, he would get players confused and shit like that, And Mark Davis was left-handed and Mark Grant was right-handed. And you're like, when they're out there throwing. So when I went in to do the Star Wars one, they're like, do an announcer voice. So I just went like, wow, what a day it is here today. Like, because that's how Ron Fairley did it. I was like, yeah, I remember, we go have beers with Sandy Koufax was a heck of a guy. And,
he would just go off.
Yeah. So... like Cubs fans always do Harry Carey.
Harry Carey, right.
Right, like there's 500 comics, Kempa Nera in particular, well known for his Harry Carey, but every Chicago Cubs fan I know can do Harry Carey. I don't do a very good one, but...
Me neither.
No. But I did a baseball announcer for that one, but yeah, thank you for asking about Bob the Builder. I don't mind talking about it at all. People would go like, did you like doing it? It's like, they'd fly me to London, and then we'd have like curry at lunch. Like, what do you mean did I like it? And all you had to do was read scripts, and do a fucking...
And do the thing.
Yeah. And then,
no camera.
And I work fast.
Nothing,
and I like to work fast.
Oh,
I'm sure you do too.
Quick, yeah.
So, and the producer was cool, and we had the same taste in music. So in between breaks, we'd talk about music and shit. And he was a musician, a thwarted musician, and he was recording cartoons for a living and da-da-da. We would knock off... They would schedule 2 full days in the studio, and we'd be done in like a day sometimes, or a day and a little bit of a morning. And then I was free.
You were free, yeah.
But you'd be booked out for like 3 days. And like, I'd do it all in a day and a half. Because, if you work fast, and just put your head down. And of course, every take, they're signing off on every take. They're not, Although I will tell you one about Star Wars. When we finished it in whenever that movie came out, 96 or 97, we were brought back in to a studio in London. And I'd recorded in London and this and that. And I went in and there was a phone patch. And there was a guy in Marin at Lucasfilm on the other end of the line. And they played the pod race and I did all the lines over again. And you know how when you're recording something, they go, okay, do it again and hit this part of the line and make this part good and
Right.
Fucking, I go, when does the picture open? And the guy on the other end goes, 10 days. So I read the line. Well, yeah, that's gotta hurt or whatever. And they're like, fine, moving on. Right? And then one pass on everything. Their picture was opening literally in 10 days, and they were getting last fucking.
That's how they do it.
And this picture, how much did the picture cost? $1 zillion. I mean, now it would have cost $1 million zillion, but then it cost $1 zillion.
That's what I was amazed about. Going back to Bob the Builder, that you could do an entire season in a day, and they wouldn't have rewrites every 2 minutes.
But these had already been done, and they were already British cartoons, so I was voicing them over for re-release in Canada and the United States.
Oh, perfect.
So all the PBS stations or whatever, CBC, whatnot, I don't know where it showed in Canada, but like the North American market required American voices in their mind, and so it was fine. And I loved doing it, and I would do it again in a second. I don't get to do enough cartoons. I know now I sound like a Mr. Showbiz. I'm just telling you story. You asked, and I thought, well, fuck it.
Listen, man. One of the things that's always attracted me to you, was you ever watch The Departed? There's a great scene in the movie Departed where he asked Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, if he knew who John Lennon was. Yeah. And he goes, Lennon says he could take a tuba and get something out of it. I always thought that as comedians, we should always be more versatile. I always believed that. When I see a guy who's doing that, I admire him for going outside the box.
Right.
Because there's so many guys that just write, go on the road, and that's it. And they work that angle. That would just kill me. If that was it, that'd be like getting I might as well just go to New York and carry a brown bag. And it's the same fucking difference, my friend. It's the same fucking difference. Yeah. I could just go to the Funny Bone in Memphis so many times before you want to put a gun in your fucking mouth. Yeah. You try to split it up, and then as you
chicken wings in the dressing room, the Friday Night Late Show.
Right. And then as you get
hotel,
wiser and older,
doing the radio.
As you get wiser and older, you go, you know what? This is like a fucking loan shark. I got to milk these clubs for everything they got. Instead of going every 18 months, I go every 2 years, and I make a bigger splash. You just learn how to milk your fucking money, But I like that you could do a voiceover and call somebody and go, you know what? I got to cancel that week in Poughkeepsie.
That's heaven when you get something.
I'll call you next year, and it's healthy to do from time to time to let people know you got them in check. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to keep these club owners in check, whatever, have a great time. But it's so, I would die if all I had was comedy. And the last couple of years, thank God I do the podcast, because it wasn't how it used to be 5 years ago for me. I would book a film for 6 weeks. And that's when you call everybody and go, scratch that date. Sorry, Charlie. I'm focusing on this film. Even if it wasn't a ton of money, it didn't matter to me. I took that break just because to take that break. Trust me, by the second week, you start bringing a notebook on the set and writing little jokes and shit. But until then, it's a nice little cleanse, You need that. I never I like people who have different things going on. I could tell they're more creative.
Well, I got lucky with a bunch of stuff too, but yes, it really helps.
No, but you were at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, right.
Even when they offered it to you could have turned it down. Voiceovers, I can't do voiceovers. You got the wrong guy. Somebody called me for a voiceover. I didn't know what to do. You're like, are you fucking crazy, Jack? Like, I just did Mafia 3. Nice. I did my first little live action voice. Blew my mind. Yeah. Well, I like to do it again. I liked it. It wasn't bad. Could I do it every day? It gets on your fucking nerves.
Well, there's people who do it every day.
Please. And they fucking carry suitcases to the bank like Tony Montana.
Yeah, they do.
They finally get studios in their houses. Those are the ones that really rock my world.
Right.
The ones that say, you know what, I just bought a house.
Right, and I do it all from here.
And got a studio right from the back. So I go in there in the morning, I read, I email them the files, and the River Dirty, that's it, it's over. Those are the guys that are just geniuses.
Yep. Did you see Nightmare Before Christmas?
He's living it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have to eat an edible every day
I was
before
gonna say,
Christmas.
he's living it right
His
now,
eyeballs are going to be fucking red.
I eat an edible every day, regardless. Are you talking about like the one that was it an older one, like in the 90s or 80s? Yeah. Oh yeah. Then yes, I did see that one. I didn't know if there was a new one.
No, they haven't remade it. Well, I got lucky this year and last year, and Danny Elfman did it. We did it live at the Hollywood Bowl, so I got to do that over Halloween, and that was really fun.
How was that?
Joey, it was like being in an opera, man. It was like there's a full orchestra on stage, 20 people in the chorus. There was 5 singers. I was one of them because I was in the movie, and Danny, who had done the music and everything, he came out and sang. Catherine O'Hara, Pee Wee Herman, Ken Page. And so they'd show the film, then they stop it, and they'd introduce a number, and then everybody come out and sing it, and full orchestra. And so we do rehearsals with just us, and then you'd rehearse with this fucking symphony orchestra. And I'm in front of all the strings, and the cellos are behind me and everything. And, it just... Comedy's fun, and comedy's worthy, and I love doing comedy, and it's, the emotional core of my life. But getting to do something like that, I felt like I was in fucking Rigoletto, you know what I mean? Like, it's just this giant undertaking, and they're showing the movie, and the crowd's going crazy, and there's 18,000 people there because it's the Hollywood Bowl, and a million kids, and everybody's dressed up and stuff. And they asked me this year, will you host the costume contest before the show? Last year they had a DJ or somebody do it, like a little girl. I don't mean a little girl, but I mean a young woman DJ from like Disney Channel or something. And of course she's not funny. You're parading a bunch of people up in fucking dressed like all the characters from Nightmare. And so I said, yeah, I'd love to. I go, before the show, I'm sitting downstairs. You know what I mean? I'm not doing anything an hour before the show. So I put my costume on early, and I go up, and all these people in these elaborate fucking outfits, dressed as Skellington Jack or Wednesday Addams or whatever the fuck, monsters from Beetlejuice. A little kid, 4-year-old kid gets up, and he's dressed as Beetlejuice. And I go, what's your name? And he goes, Jack. And I'm like, Jack? And he goes, and he pulls him in. And what is it? And he goes, Jacques. And I go, you're going to do a lot better in a few years with Jacques than you are with Jack, man. Let me tell you that. And then he pulls me down. I go, what is it? And he goes, have I won yet?
Now, how long was this whole process at the Hollywood Bowl?
Well, we rehearsed for like 2 or 3 times at various places. The year before, we did costume fittings and all that. And then we did 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl. And the year before, we did 2 nights at the Hollywood Bowl. John Massieri, who's the conductor of the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, was the conductor, and I was posted up like where Lee is where the conductor was on the podium with his baton, and I was right here. So yeah, he would look over like you'd be coming on, and he'd go, when you're apart, yeah, right at you. And I missed my cue hideously one night, of course, and then the next night I got it right, and I said to him after we were having a beer, how was it? And he's like, that was exciting, wasn't it? The first year when we rehearsed, we were all chattering because we're idiots, and I was with singers. These are real singers.
I'm getting anxiety just listening to you right now.
Oh,
honest, real,
fun.
Like breathing.
I had to sing with real singers.
I'm seeing blood right now.
With singers, right?
I couldn't even imagine looking
Symphony
over
orchestra.
At a fucking conductor.
Tap, 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 tap. Joey!
Feeling the energy from an orchestra on my neck.
Yeah.
Playing horns and violins, especially at the Hollywood Bowl, the way the sound goes out. Because my wife used to work there, so we'd go there for all the Pink Panthers and all this stuff like that. And I was always amazed how this, like, I would always go, thank God I'm not on heroin right now. Thank God I'm not on acid right now. That would have been a big fucking mistake, you know? I couldn't imagine doing what you did. Right now, until I started yakking at you, I was going down. And it felt like I was bleeding. Like, why am I feeling this way? Am I bleeding from somewhere? Yeah. That's how much anxiety I was getting from you just saying that.
We rehearsed, and I got it wrong a few times this time, and all the singers had remembered it from last year. And they wrote us an email and were like, do you need a new book? And I remembered I had the book, right? It's the music book with all the lyrics, and I can't read sheet music, so it's no fucking good to me. Like, the words, the tune I had to memorize, and play the songs over and over, because I can't read sheet music. And of course, the singers in the show that's what they do for a living. they sing. So they can read. If you give them a sheet of music, they'll go, la 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 la, you know, and then no, I need a diminished fifth, and then on the second bar, I need you to you take the high part and you take the low part, and then I want you to do a low C, and they go and I'm like, you know, I don't fucking. So, but it wasn't as complicated as all that. But the first year we were in the rehearsal room at Warner Brothers with a giant orchestra, and we were yapping, and John Messeri, the conductor, went like this, and it hadn't happened to me since I was a little kid. He didn't say a word, didn't even look at us. He didn't say a word. He just went like that. Like we were children, right? And all five of us just at attention, you know, because we were blah, 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 and, you know, they're trying to do something. And that one made me like go, you know, focus, Greg, focus.
No, this is a different game.
Yeah.
This is a fucking different game.
There's 200 people in this room.
Yeah, this isn't
and
fucking...
And you're pulling the attention towards yourself right now with jokes?
This isn't
I don't think so.
This isn't... You know, the problem I saw as soon as I moved to L.A., and I always spoke about this, was going on a set, and in basketball, when I first moved here, one of the biggest blessings I got was in those days when you got 2 days on a film, it was really 32 days. Because they go, we don't know where we're going to put your scenes. Just come in tomorrow. So I saw people go in there, and I forget the comic that went in there when he left. Like, they applauded. They couldn't wait for him to leave. Yeah. Because he was directing. He was a writer. Yeah. You know, let me write this scene for you the right way. And I always learned from watching that to shut my fucking pie hole. Even when people come over, I yes them and no. Right. They're paying me. Yeah. This is not stand-up. This is not...
And don't be the center of attention.
Yeah, this guy's paying me to be part of, you know, again, we're talking about Hollywood situations.
Remember your lines and stand in the right place.
The last 18 months, Greg, I've been getting anxiety at the store. As soon as I walk into the original room, been going there for 20 years this February. As soon as I walk up the stairs, I look at the stage, my heart fucking whatever. Okay, so that was one thing. I did it a few times. I just breathed through it. By the time I hit the stage, I'm fine. Then I did the goddamn comedy jam. Have you done it yet? A lot of fun. Same thing. Went up there confident as fuck. As I was walking onto the stage, out of my right eye, I could see all these people jumping up and down. I just had to look at the drummer and sing to the drummer. Yeah. And when I did turn around, my heart stopped. You know, I was like, what the fuck? That was fine. I did the Will Turn Theater a couple weeks ago. I almost fell apart right on stage. First 2 minutes, I was out of it. Yeah. I was like, Joey, breathe through this shit, you know? And you're talking about going up at the Hollywood fucking Bowl, singing with an orchestra behind you. And I'm sitting here going, I would die at this point in my life. Maybe 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I could definitely fucking do whatever the hell I wanted to. And that's... I fucking hate talking about this shit. The Longest Yard is on constantly. And every time it's on, I catch the beginning or I catch one particular scene. You have HBO? Yeah. All 4 of them?
Yeah.
And you leave the house and Spider-Man is on. Right. And it's always up to a certain point. And you always leave at that point. And then when you come back the next day, it starts from that point. And you're like, what the fuck's going on in my life? Yeah. Whenever I see The Longest Yard, and I don't know it's on, I put on like something 2:45 to see if Law and Order's on, and as I'm scrolling, it's on Comedy Central at 2 in the afternoon. Yeah. And it's always the first scene that I pop out, and the second scene where I really have lines, okay? And every time I look at that scene, I have to switch it, because I get so much anxiety thinking about doing that scene. For the first time in front of everybody. Like me getting to Albuquerque, me getting to Santa Fe, me rehearsing, me working out with the team. All that shit meant dick compared to like they were Monday, 6 a.m. And all of a sudden, oh, by the way, you're the first scene on Monday, the group. And Michael Irvin and all these football players and camera guys and Adam Sandler and Chris Rock. I wasn't doing blow either. When I got to Albuquerque, I said, I'm Santa Fe. I'm not cop and blow. I broke down the 6th week. I'm not going to lie to you. But the first 3 weeks, I wanted just to look good and be healthy, you know. But I look at that scene now, Lee, and I get anxiety watching that scene. Now.
What scene was it?
The one in the beginning. What is it?
Do you know what? I'm desperate to use the bathroom. It's
Go
not
ahead,
a terrible thing to say.
No. I got to do some shout-outs.
All right.
Go ahead. Go do your thing.
Thank
you.
you.
Know what scene it is? It's the scene when... Can you fit around me?
I can.
You're beautiful. It's the scene when he goes... When I read the fucking board. Treehouse.
Oh, okay, got it.
That scene right there, as soon as I see that, my heart fucking stops. It beats heavy. And I can't believe I had the balls to do that. And I try to think back at what the fuck I was thinking at that time that made me think I could do that scene. Because today, thinking about that scene, I would quit right fucking there. Right that day when I would have walked on the set, I would have ran to the director and said, listen, sir, I hate to tell you this. There's no way I could fucking do this, okay? There is no way I could fucking do this.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Because that's the way my mind works, okay? What the fuck was I thinking? I'm a fat felon from North Bergen, New Jersey, who robbed and stole. I can't believe when I got the call for that. And I can't believe when they called me and said I actually had it. Like, I kept walking around thinking a fucking brick was gonna hit me or something.
So you didn't think that, like, since they chose you, like, it was fine?
I didn't know what the fuck I was thinking, Lee. It doesn't really matter. That's how bad my anxiety, like, when I see that scene, my fucking heart stops now. Anyway, Joe Perez gets a shout out. Bob Olingus and his family gets a shout out. Tommy Easter making a comeback out of the fucking hills and shit. Lorne Rosencut, my man Ron McFadden, Ronnie Archer, Dom De Niro, John Cutler, Todd Lightly, and John Petrowski. I love you motherfuckers. Don't forget this weekend, Portland, Oregon and shit. The party starts Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Don't fuck around. I don't want to hear no tears and tears for fears and all this shit. And don't forget, cocksuckers, CISO TV. You're basically 10 days away from my first special. I'm happy you got my back. All you got to do right now when that podcast ends, go to CISO TV, do your email, do the code, and do a code name Joey, and get 2 months for free. You're helping me out, so do me that favor. And call your mother, give her the fucking code. Call your sister, give her the code. Call your brother, give her the code. Call anybody the fuck you know, all right? And while I got your ear right now, real quick, I want to tell you about a nice Christmas treat. I like these people. I like the product. They got a 60-day guarantee. HelloTushy.com, all right? Listen, like I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. Bidets are back, baby. There's no more reason to be walking around with that stink ass, all embarrassed, a hairy muffler. If you don't know what a bidet is, it's a device that sprays your butt clean with water. Agua. Nice. I grew up with a bidet, all right? They are fucking tremendous. Right now I got a bidet in the back bathroom. Unfucking believable. My wife finally installed it. It's a party. They also sent me towels. HelloTushy.com got towels, bitches. Thanks to Tushy's new sleek bidet that clips on to the existing toilet. You hear me? Existing. No plumbers, no nothing. It sprays your butt completely clean with fresh water to get your muffler fucking sparkling. Fucking nuts. Listen, when you sit there all afternoon, what do you think happens to your muffler? Bacteria grows, hemorrhoids, you get yeast infections. Basically, you get rotten fucking ass. How you going to go on that date and go to sushi and then go to the movies with that fucking filth developing in your fucking muffler, okay? That all comes to an end with HelloTushy.com, all right? Bidets are better for the environment also. There's no paper, means no trees die. It uses 1 pint of water per fucking asshole. So every time you take a dump, once you put the button, 1 pint of water hits your muffler. Think about it. Sitting there on Christmas fucking day with water hitting your little muffler as you drift afloat into the fucking stratosphere. You understand me? Do me a favor. Cut this shit, all right? Not only that, Tushy stands behind their product for 60 days. This is the original fucking stocking stuffer. HelloTushy.com right now. Go get yourself a bidet right now. You got somebody, he needs another fucking towel. What does he need? Another book, another CD. Give him a bidet. See how happy he gets. Go to HelloTushy.com right now. I'm going to give you 10% off, all right? right now today, 60-day guarantee. And also, they got the gold tushy towels. When you finish, it wipes your little fucking muffler spotless. Nobody knows nothing. There's no fingerprints. You understand me? What are you staring at me like that?
/church. HelloTushy.com/church.
HelloTushy.com/church. All right. Mr. Proops, get in here. Let's close this motherfucker up. Get a little bit more info on what's going on in the world.
Squash. Squish. I gotta lose some.
Anyway.
Well, Joe, it's always a pleasure with you and Lee.
Dog, it's always a fucking pleasure seeing you. I'm happy that you're working. I was happy to hear about the Hollywood Bowl. That shit makes my dick hard, man. These people just tap out and they go one direction. Listen, we working 8 fucking things here. A podcast. We're working the road career. We're trying to get a TV show going. We're trying whatever, a book, whatever the fuck we got. You got to work it from every direction until they put us in the casket. That's it. What else are you gonna do?
There's no retiring.
No, what are you gonna do? Once you stop using it, brother, you lose it. That's it. It's all over. Then your leg starts going. Your little feet start going. I'll find somewhere to crack jokes. There's somebody who always give me $25 to tell them a few jokes. They have a drink. I have a fucking Diet Coke. They think I'm really drinking. You know what I'm saying? Old school style. Working at least, Syatt. What do you got planned this weekend, Lee? Talk to Uncle Joey. What's the adventure this weekend? You gonna go horseback riding?
No, maybe. There is this pretty cool vintage arcade in Pasadena that I might go to. Look pretty fun. I know you hate that.
I don't hate nothing. I just like what you do. I'm interested because you're such an interesting fellow.
What would I have this weekend?
You sit there, you think of all these things. You know what? I haven't been to an arcade in 30 years. Maybe I go to a fucking arcade this weekend.
It's cool. It's all on free play.
Hold on. Let me Yelp this and see if there's an arcade in the area. Oh, what a coincidence. It's fucking Arcadiaville up there.
Even better. There was a Groupon, so.
There you go. Look at you.
Hell yeah.
He's a victim of youth. I love him.
It's the little things.
The little things. Everything's at his fingertips.
Yeah.
Everything's Yelp. He don't take a chance.
Right.
Everything's Yelp. He believes strangers.
Yeah.
He listens to strangers, but he won't listen to his Uncle Joey. But he believes strangers. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that a bitch? Some guy on Yelp he's never met tells him, order the Popeye's chicken. This fucking mud will go down there and get the Popeye's chicken.
You were the one who told me to get Popeye's chicken.
I did not tell you to get Popeye. I'm not talking about Popeye's chicken. It's just a fucking example, all right? I didn't tell you to get Popeye's chicken.
Wow.
Right? I told him to get Popeye. He goes down there and gets 3 buckets. I didn't tell you to get Popeye.
I don't get 3 buckets. I get the spicy ones.
Okay.
This is what I live with. You understand me? This is what I live. It goes to Pizza Rev. I don't know what to do no more. What else you got going on, brother? You're traveling? You're doing?
Oh yeah, I'm in Yuck Yucks, and then I'm back in. We're gonna show the apartment over at the Cine Family on December 7th. The Great Proops Film Club. That's a great picture with Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine.
Old school, brother.
Oh yeah,
old school.
Oh,
you're like me.
Teaching
the
kids, baby.
That's what I love.
And then in let's see, then in London, if your listeners are in London,
they'll be
on the 14th, I'll be at the Comedy Store with the Comedy Store Players. On the 17th, I'll be at the Soho Theater. Then I'll be at Shakespeare Company in Paris on the 20-something, somewhere in there. I don't know even if that's a live show. I don't know if we're just going to do it in a room and drink. And then back in San Francisco for New Year's weekend. A podcast then, too.
Where are you at New Year's Eve?
San Francisco Punchline.
With Greg
Simmons.
Simmons.
No, with me.
You're at the Punchline. Okay.
Yeah, I'm at the Punchline.
They're at Cobb's, probably. They do the...
Yeah. There's clubs across like a mile away. Right. Hilariously, as you know, San Francisco's so small. The clubs are like literally 5 minutes from each other.
I'm a Punchline guy. I'm with you. We've had this discussion.
Yeah. Cobb's is big, and it's not... They wanted me to do it again.
They push it every fucking time. Listen, Cobb's is available the 26th. You'll make a ton of money. Listen.
I like the little room.
Leave me at the fucking Punchline. Leave me the fuck alone. Move on with your goddamn life.
It's my home
Me
club.
too. I love it.
Last New Year's, I improvised the whole set. I didn't like to go out of my way and tell anyone. I just got up there and did it because I was tired of hearing my material. 1 and 2.
Is that the album?
Oh, I made that one the year before. Well, you still got the record.
What do you think you're dealing with? Some novice?
No, not at all. But last year, instead of I just thought, well, I'll just get up there and riff. And the clock was there and the decorations and everything. And so, it was a lot more fun. It was a lot more fun than trying to, 10 minutes till New Year's, people aren't focused anymore. They want the, then it's New
And
Year's.
you're going up there trying to sell you material.
Right.
You're
Like, come on. So
you're actually fucking sick of.
Yeah.
That's the concept people never get. That you're like me. You love to write. You switch shit up. You take a chance at the beginning of your set. Sometimes you bury yourself. I love all that shit in a set. I can't go out there and do the same set just to have a great set. I got to take chances. Sometimes I go down a dark street and I got to work myself out of it. That's where 25 years comes in.
Yeah.
My first 16 months in the business, I realized after 3 months that it was very hard to write a new 5 minutes every week. My first year in the business, I thought I was actually, I'll write 5 minutes every week. Every Tuesday I have a brand new 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, fucking surprise, Jack. So I'd improvise, and I learned. But it took me a long time to make the switch over to stand-up comedy. I would just go on stage, do 1 or 2 jokes, and start with the, what do you do for a living?
Yeah, right.
And it gets fucking old.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50. You're not a comedian. Anybody can do that shit. Until one day I got serious in Seattle, did the contest, and I stopped improvising. And I don't improvise at all. I improvise on stage.
Yeah.
But to go on stage and talk to the audience, I can't do that no more.
Oh, I never talk to the crowd.
I'll move that motherfucking train fast if it happens.
Yeah.
But for so long, I was depending on it. What a horrible crutch to have. And when you see somebody doing it, when you go to do a show and you see somebody doing it, it makes you think when you were doing that shit, you're like, God damn it.
Years ago, Tom Sawyer, who ran the old Cobb's in San Francisco, said to me, I was probably opening at the time, you can't follow yourself. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you do your jokes, then you go into the crowd, and you work the crowd for 10 minutes, and then when you come back to your jokes, everybody can smell your material. And that's not that funny. He didn't get on me for it. He just said...
What time it was.
Right.
Brilliant.
He said, you can't follow yourself. You got to write more material that's about this and that. And I went, you're right. I'm relying so hard on where you're from, you're an idiot, and it was like, and so then I just stopped talking to the crowd entirely.
Lee said that he only met people that smoked pot. It's so weird. When I was doing coke, I would bump into somebody somewhere in every town that miraculously had a gram of blow on them. You attract it. You always say to yourself, how come with heroin, people with heroin don't bump into me? It's so weird when you improvise, pretty soon people smell it on you and they start chatting up before you even get there.
Yeah.
That's where it turns sour on you. That pretty soon, it's not that you're known for improvising. You just give off that vibe that allows them to come in.
Right, which you don't want.
Which
you
don't
have
want.
Control.
That takes years to develop, guys. That's a pretty hard muscle to portray a body language where if you do say something at me, I don't hear it.
Yeah.
And to boot, after 3 or 4 times, they just give up.
Yeah.
They just go, this guy is not going to react to us at all unless we light ourselves on fire. We're just going to give up. It's so weird. It's such a weird muscle to get that confidence, to let your body language know, I don't want to hear what you got to fucking say.
No.
Unless I talk to you, then you speak. Until that fucking time, don't fucking say a word.
I don't address people much
No,
anymore.
it's really weird.
I want to do what I want to do up there.
It's funny when you move to LA, that's the first thing they say to you. And I'll never forget, I had a dear friend from Texas. Good comic, worked hard. Came up here a little too soon for his time.
Yeah.
And at that time I had a room in Brea. Listen, every new comic needs $100,
Right.
So I called him up. I said, what are you doing Wednesday? You want to come down to Brea and do the good? Absolutely. He had bailed me out a couple times at gigs. He went down there. I'll never forget this. This had to be like the first Wednesday after Christmas. He went down there. He got on stage. First, he did that Texas stuff. I want to thank the troops.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Brea,
No.
California. They don't even know.
Yeah.
And I saw that strike. And then he did 2 or 3 jokes. He did okay. He had them. But he started improvising. And when he got off that stage, 2, maybe 3 days later, there was an emergency in Texas, and that was fucking 6 or 7 years ago. Like they couldn't make the transition.
Yeah.
Like it was unthinkable. You know, it's such a weird beast comedy, especially the way you're doing it, because you do so many different things. So everything that you do adds to that art. Like right now, one thing I am good at, like I'm okay at stand-up, but do you know what I realize I'm really good at now when I do it? I can act my ass off.
Right.
Like I know my lines, I know where to stand,
Yeah.
I know how to fucking block. I don't say nothing. I go prepared. Like I look at the room while they're shooting something else. I look at the speed they're moving. You can gauge shit. And I see myself now and I'm like, wait a second, next time I do something, I gotta ask for more money.
Yeah.
Because I'm fucking good at this. There's people that are fucking up. They're coming in here with wrinkled shirts.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about anything. You know, I always tell Lee that I did a soap opera years ago. And if I hadn't had the experience I had from the years of being here, I would have got fired the first day. That's the hard. You ever do a soap opera?
No.
Hardest thing I ever
Right, you got to
did.
learn a million lines.
No, they got teleprompters and shit.
Oh, really?
But it's like nobody talks to you.
Right.
You do Where's My Line? The show you on. Right? What's the name of the show?
Well, whose line is it anyway?
Whose line isn't it? Where's your line? Whose line isn't it anyway? You get there, you show your identification, they tell you where to park. You walk out, there's an AD who comes up to you. How you doing, Mr. Proops? Hi. You're in locker room 3B today. And they walk you in, and all of a sudden another guy, Greg Proops is there.
Right.
And all of a sudden, have a good day, bye-bye. And all of a sudden another guy comes and gets you, and they walk you to your thing. And they go, you hungry, Mr. Proops? And you go, yeah, what's on the menu today? There's a ham and egg sandwich. I'll take it. You take the sandwich, and all of a sudden you lock the door, you put your bag down, and you... Hi, wardrobe. We're gonna hang this here for you, but go ahead, take your time, eat breakfast, whatever. We're not shooting yet. And they close the door, and you get the phone, and you're about to call your wife. Hi, hair and makeup. Yeah. Don't forget, eat your breakfast. We'll come get you. Okay. You close the door, you know, but they're involved. Okay, right there, you had involvement. They all come fucking back, and they dress you, and they look at your shirt, and they say, okay, you're scene 16A, you're going to block, and then you're going to put wardrobe on, let's do it this way, and that's all you're shooting today. Okay, that's it. At least you had guidance. When you do a soap opera, the time I did it, dog, I did General Hospital, call time 8 o'clock. And what was weird was when I got it, my agent called, and then somebody called me from there, and they're like, listen, you're coming at 8, you're out of there by 11 o'clock. I'm like, this person's never shot television.
Right.
Like, that's what I said to myself. I'm like, I got 2 scenes, and I'm going to be out of there by 11, and there was like 6 scenes in front of me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm like, good luck. I'll be out of there by 11. Honey, I'm not going to see you until like 10 o'clock, dog. I'm going to get banked today. Really? I walked in there at 8 o'clock, bro, and it says, on set 8:14.
Right.
By 8:14, motherfuckers rehearsed for 1 minute. It was by the clock, Greg Proops. Greg Proops.
Yeah.
You looked at your sheet, and the time it said you're going to be on set at 10:38, and your first fucking line's going to be at 10:41.
Right.
You bet your ass that computer was moving with or without you. And by the time this scene popped up, there was a teleprompter in your fucking room. There's 2 teleprompters. You check in, and they give you a slip, and they go room 38, and that's it. That's the last human you have contact with, Greg Proops.
Right.
That's a scary situation.
Yeah. Just
You're like,
well,
room 38. What's 38? Room
Yeah.
38. You never know what 38 is? 38! And you walk to 38, and there's clothes in there hanging up. There's no fucking woman in there waiting for you.
Right.
There's clothes hanging up, and there's a script, and there's a contract, and you fill it out, and it tells you, people who are in scenes 22 to 28 come out to the thing in 5 minutes. You go out there, people shake your hand. Hi, how are you? Nice to have you on the set. You're playing who's Sinbad? Okay, let's rehearse it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, thank you. You go, you get your egg sandwich, you eat it, you drink your little cranberry juice, you put your little fucking suit on, and you watch that teleprompter in your room. And there's a teleprompter of what's going on stage, and there's a teleprompter of the scenes and when they want you out there. And it's no fucking, nobody comes in that room
Really, no
and says,
second AD, nothing.
Jesus Christ, Greg Proops. It's intimidating as fuck.
Right.
And all of a sudden it goes, scene 48. Let's say you're in scene 51.
Yeah.
It'll go 51, come to the stage. That quick, Greg Proops.
Yeah.
You walk onto the stage, then all of a sudden somebody comes out, does final fucking touches, okay? Blah, blah, blah. They wipe your shoes, whatever's going to be in the scene. Scene 51, places. Scene 51, scene 1, take 1, action. Boom. Boom, boom, Greg Proops. No, Joe Diaz, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fuck you. No, fuck you. If you fuck up on your line, it's not start the scene over. No. Pick it up from right there.
Let's say it again.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Action. Cut. Thank you. We'll see you back here for 54. That's how. Don't even leave.
Wow.
Just go to the corner.
Right.
It's cameras everywhere and a wall.
Wow.
And all of a sudden you walk off, and all of a sudden the other team, and all of a sudden come on back, and all of a sudden ready, action. Pa 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 pa. If you fuck up, pick it up from there. Pa pa pa. Thank you. Have a great weekend. You look at your clock. They were a minute early, dog.
Right.
You wrapped at 11:11, and that's how fast. You went to your room, you took your clothes off,
Right.
you
Good
left
night.
it there. There was no thank you.
No.
There was no have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Great to have you today. Oh my
Yeah.
God, your scene was tremendous.
Yeah.
Nobody says, Dick. You leave there like, what the fuck?
Wow.
But the only thing that bails us out is our comedy experience. That's what really, at the end, I always thought bailed me out of those situations. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just being
Well, you have the
partial.
confidence to be yourself, too, and stand there and be something. And make a decision. You got to make a decision.
These are seasoned actors. I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
I took 6 weeks of classes out of Anna Chubbuck
Right.
and 2 more with that guru on fucking La Brea. I know nothing. These people went to Juilliard,
Right.
and they were in program. They did 4 years of college.
They did Shakespeare
And all of a sudden, I'm the
repertoire.
asshole that walks in.
Yeah.
And these guys, like the people I saw on the set of whatever, I had seen before. The guy that played the head mobster, I grew up on that guy on something. This guy that just wasn't no Johnny come lately.
Right.
I think he's still on there. You follow me, Lee? You got to cover every fucking base.
I feel you, buddy.
You're 28 years old. If you didn't learn anything from this podcast tonight, my man Greg Proops cover every base. He plays chess. He sings. He dances. He does stand-up. He's a writer. He's a dad. He's a husband. What the fuck are you going to do with your life, Lee? You got to go?
Yeah.
Do your thing. Happy holidays. I'm just going to read 2 ads. Anything you need to promote? Whatever you want,
the
my
podcast, Great Smartest Man in the World, on iTunes or gregproops.com, and all my gigs are on there too. And come and join us in our fine adventures around the world.
Always a pleasure seeing you.
Thanks
my
for having me
brother.
on, baby.
I'm just going to run 2 ads. I'm getting out of here myself. I got shit to do and people to see. Where were we, cocksuckers? We talked about Tushy. We talked about, we spoke about,
Am I getting up or am I?
yeah, whatever you want to do. If you want. So we spoke about HelloTushy.com. Tremendous, okay? Now I got something for you that you like. Oh shit, I almost lit this on fire. I gotta be careful hearing shit. Listen, dog, I'm like you guys. I don't read a lot of magazines, but I like reading them from time to time. You know, I'll pick up the Hollywood Report. I don't know what I'm reading. I'll pick up Time. I'll read Time on Twitter or something like that. You know, I'll read Rolling Stone. Let me tell you something, my friend. There's this service called Texture. This will blow your mind, okay? Thanks to pizza, we're all binge eating. Thanks to Netflix, we're all binge watching. But now with Texture, you can start binge reading. Trust me, it's about to be a thing. When it comes to magazines, you know what you like. And with Texture, you get all the magazines you want in one super convenient place. Texture has completely reimagined magazines, giving you the articles and stories you really want, all in one place, all right? Plus interactive features, videos, and recommendations just for you. The Texture app lets you tap into the world's most popular magazines anytime, anywhere, using your smartphone or tablet. Breeze through hundreds of your favorite magazines, including back issues, and pick the articles that interest you the most, all right? Listen, Men's Fitness, Men's Health, Men's Journal, Money, National Geographic, New York Magazine. Start binge reading for free, all right? Sign up for Texture right now and gain insider access to all the content from the world's best publications. The best part is, Texture's offering my listeners a free trial right now when you go to texture.com/Joey. Again, you'll gain immediate entry to all the top magazines, including back issues and bonus video content. Start binge reading for free right now when you go to texture.com/Joey. Again, texture.com/Joey. My main people, on it.com, you know I love you motherfuckers with all my heart. As far as supplements are concerned, listen, Alpha Brain, 100% money back guaranteed. New Mood, Shroom Tech. Me and Mark were using the Shroom Tech again at Jiu-Jitsu. Listen, I live and die with them. The hemp force chocolate protein and the acai protein, I live it down with it. That MC40, the oil, the coconut oil, tremendous in your coffee in the morning. Listen, I don't know. You want me to blow smoke up your ass and go to the website and read word for word? You're more intelligent than that. Go to honor.com right now. Go to honor.com. Look at the supplement page. I can't get you any help on the weights and the metal bats, but as far as supplements, I'll get you 10% off because that's how I fucking roll, bitches, all right? Go to honor.com and press in.
Church.
Boom! CHURCH and get 10% off. And don't forget, next Thursday night, write it down right now, CISO TV. Go there right now and put in code name Joey and get 2 months for free, and you get to watch the special next Thursday. Do me that favor. You know I got your back. Get my back. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Monday morning, all right? Stay black and beautiful.